How's it going, everybody? This is Daybreaker Rein here, and I've been trying to make this video for a couple weeks now. Couple weeks. Just a lot's been going on in my personal life, so I haven't really had a chance to sit down and kind of try to figure out what I wanted to do with this video. I had a lot of issues where I did a couple takes of this video, and they just did not meet how I wanted them to be. A couple of them I got really emotional, and I didn't want to have to go through the extra mile of editing out a lot of stuff like that. So I decided that this was going to be the best way to do it and try to kind of wait and bide my time to do this video. So for those of you who don't know, and don't follow me on Twitter, I've talked about this a little bit. On St. Patrick's Day of this year, my best friend, known as ALU17 and 21, depending on where you found him, his real name being Andrew, my best friend Andrew was shot and killed. And this really hit me hard because it was just something that, in the midst of all the chaos going on in my personal life, it was the last thing on my mind to get the news that my best friend was no longer amongst the living. And it hurt a lot. You know, I've excuse me. I've been around people long enough. Like, I have friends and other YouTubers I've watched. You know, I know that a lot of them have gone through similar experiences where they've lost somebody that they care about very deeply, and it's that kind of, you know, regret that plagues you, that you didn't spend more time with them, that you didn't make more memories with them, because you never think that the next person who's going to lose their life will be somebody that you truly care about. So I learned via a friend of mine and Andrew's, my buddy Eddie. He had actually sent me the article that the local newspaper's website had actually made about it. And then he had actually found out from another friend of ours. So I didn't even know, like, firsthand. Like, it wasn't something that was brought to my attention immediately. I wasn't told, you know, and this article didn't come up until 3 days after it had happened. Like, I was in Tucson, Arizona, just on vacation for that weekend. So I didn't even know. Like, I had not a care in the world. I was busy doing other stuff. So it really did. It hit me hard. But this video isn't about me per se. You know, I want to basically make this video as a means to let you guys know who he was. And it's more or less just a reminiscing video, like kind of similar to what I did with Demon Souls, but live, you know, because it's actually, you see my face instead of just me recording it. So I just want to make this video. I don't know how long this is going to go, so I do apologize if this goes really long, but I will have a follow-up video after this that involves some other stuff. But I'll save that till the end. So I met Andrew in high school. I had gone to the northern high school in my city due to some altercations I had in middle school, and the potential of me getting into confrontations and things like that was kind of high because I got into fights with the wrong people, pissed off the wrong people, and frankly, I was scared. I was scared that I was going to be a target. So I decided that the best course of action for my own safety was to go to the northern high school, to where nobody knows me, and I can start anew, kind of. And for the most part, it worked because during high school, I wasn't really picked on or messed with. There were a couple instances where I was messed with when I was a freshman, and, you know, just small instances, but nothing to the scale of what it had been back in elementary school and in middle school. So I met Andrew. I actually had Spanish class with him my freshman year. The reason I originally kind of figured him out in a way was we had done projects of these little, like, flags. We had to make these little paper, like, craft flags, and I did a Kingdom Hearts flag with the nobody symbol in the middle. and he had recognized it because I guess some students were giving me, saying that it was shitty or whatever because people are just assholes. But he knew what it was, and so we also had a health class together. That was later in the day, and somehow in health class we had ended up. I had originally sat behind him, and he had sat in front of me, and somehow we flip flopped. I don't know how that happened. I really don't. I tried to figure it out this entire time, but something like that happened. But in health class, I was talking with a person who I'm not really in contact with anymore, named Jordan. He was really big into JRPGs and things like that, so we were talking about a lot of Square Enix stuff, and Kingdom Hearts came into conversation, and Andrew started conversing with us through that, and it was fun. And like the bell rang and it was time for lunch, and I asked him, I was like, hey, are you doing anything like for lunch? Like I would love to talk more. And little did I know that that would spawn one of the best friendships I ever had. One thing led to another. We started hanging out more. We started talking about games. Found out he was a gamer. Found out he was into a lot of the things I was. And I was having to be picked up like around like 3 and go hang with my dad at his office because he didn't get off till 4 and my mother didn't get off till 5. And so it was kind of this weird thing. And I lived all the way on the south end of town. So he asked, he was like, hey, why don't you start coming over to my house? Like, why don't you come over to my house and hang out with me until your parents are both off work and they can come get you, at 5. I was like, okay, cool. That sounds great. He lived about, it was like maybe a 15-20 minute walk from the high school. He lived up the road. And we started hanging out. We started playing games together. He had asked me, do you play Soul Calibur at all? And me, being an arrogant son of a bitch, said that, yeah, I play Soul Calibur. Of course I play Soul Calibur. Who doesn't play Soul Calibur? And he told me, he didn't tell me. He didn't need to tell me anything. I learned that I didn't know how to play Soul Calibur because of him. But it was because of him that I actually learned how to play the game. And that was kind of actually my introduction before I started participating in the local FGC scene and started going to events and things like that. He was the first one that really got me into playing fighting games. In a way, it was mostly just Soul Calibur, but it was kind of the kick-started thing because, then I later met my friend Carlos, who was really big into Tekken and Street Fighter, and I started getting good at Tekken because of him, because I really wanted to play against him. And so it was just kind of like the beginning of something that I didn't know was going to be an integral part of my life several years down the road. So we would play a lot of Soul Calibur 3 together. That was one of the games we really liked to play. We would spend hours playing that game. And we also liked to play Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was one of our other favorite games because, like, it was a game we could co-op with. So when we were done beating each other's asses in Soul Calibur, we would co-op elite bots on Star Wars Battlefront 2 and just play and play and play. And those are some of the fondest memories I'll ever have because just him being a couple, roads down from me, because I eventually moved up here, and so I wasn't too far away, so I could just go home after, but I usually still hung around at his place after school. And I could actually stay longer until the sun went down because I was just up the road. It helped a lot because high school was really, really tough for me. I didn't realize how tough it was going to be. I was always kind of the outcast sort of character. Like, not a lot of people liked to associate with me. They either wanted to make fun of me and just harass me, or they just didn't want anything to do with me. So through Andrew, I met a lot of the friends that I still kind of keep in contact with, like Eddie. I met Eddie through Andrew. I love that dude to death. I met a couple others. Some of them, of course, I don't keep in contact with anymore. It was kind of just the nature of things after high school. But high school was really great because of Andrew. He did a lot for me. I remember a lot of the times I spent the night over at his place a couple weekends. He came and spent the night, a couple days over at my place a couple times. It was really great to have met someone who just had so much fun with. We did a lot of goofy stuff, times like shoving Eddie in the back of his car, you know, because we had like we were in a like a 4-seater car with like 6 people, so there were 3 shoved in the back, and then you know Andrew driving and then me up front because I was one of the biggest guys, and Eddie was the smallest, so we shoved him in the trunk. You know, just random stupid goofy stuff. We never were like we were never deviants. We were never you know, mischievous. We never like got up to like destroying personal property or, you know, spray painting or anything. You know, nothing illegal. We were pretty clean for the most part. We just would hang out and just have fun. You know, we had a marshmallow war in Andrew's house one time where we just pelted each other with these like big sized marshmallows. It was silly. It was stupid, but that was time spent with Andrew. A lot of the time was just silly, random fun, and I'll always be appreciative of that. Like, I'll never forget that. If anything that I would want to tell people would be that specific portion of it, you know, that we were just a bunch of goofballs in high school, and I loved every minute of it. So after high school, we got a bit distant. I don't necessarily know why. I have my guesses. One of the things I guess is because I kind of had weird thoughts and on things like drug usage and stuff like that. Like I was very anti drug use, even the tame stuff like marijuana, which is what Andrew started smoking and he started getting up to, and I just wasn't a fan of that. Like I didn't want that around me. There was one instance where I thought my dad was gonna kill me because I smelt like it, and it freaked me the ever living crap out. Like it was just kind of that stigma where it was like it was a very bad thing. You know, over time, of course, that opinion changed. Like I would much rather people smoke marijuana than smoke, you know, do crack or, you know, heroin or things that are really addictive, you know, and just destroy people, because there are things out there that are way worse, you know. So I don't have as much resentment as I used to about pot smoking. I've come to find out, you know, a couple of the people I associate with now, they still smoke pot. So not it was a progressive thing, though. It wasn't something that it just happened overnight. I was very against it. Andrew, fortunately, was very respectful. He knew I didn't like it, so he was very respectful of that fact. You know, he never brought me around people who did it. He didn't do it himself while he was around me. So yeah, it was just, I think that was one of the reasons. I don't know if that's the definitive reason, but I do kind of attribute some of my own bias towards that as being kind of like why we kind of grew a little bit apart. But you know, anytime we were together, regardless of that fact, it was just like old times. It was never bad. It was always fun. Like I always had fun with him, especially when he came over. You know, there was a couple times where he was just kind of down on his luck and came and stayed with me a couple days, and it was always fun. Like I never had a bad experience with him. There was one instance where I did get a little irritated at him. When we all went to a movie together, it was me, him, and a couple of my regular friends that I hang out with a whole bunch. You know, we went to a movie together, and he was up in the back, you know, making, you know, marijuana cigs basically, and I didn't know that he had that on him. That was the only time that like I ever really got really upset, because it was kind of that thing where it was like you've respected, you know, that boundary for so long. Why now? Why is it this one time you haven't respected it? You know, but it wasn't something that I held over his head, because that was, while there was a risk involved in that, because we could have easily, if we had gotten into like a car accident or we had gotten pulled over for any reason, we would have been guilty by association if the officers had known that that was on him. So that there was that, but I didn't ever really hold it over his head, because it was like a one-off thing. Nothing happened that night, so thankfully nothing happened that night. But that was the only time I ever really felt angry. Another time I think I was upset was when I found out about excuse me, when I found out about him getting a girl pregnant. So, because my perceived notion of him, just like hanging around him for as long as I did, we were really goofy. We were just goofballs, having fun a lot of the time, and I was scared. I was scared because I was like, I just don't think you're ready for that, man. You're young, you're really young, and it's a big undertaking to take on becoming a father. But he really proved me wrong. He went through a hell of a lot to finally secure being able to see his daughter on a regular basis. Like, his baby mama, I don't have a high opinion of her, and I probably never will. And there's a reason for that, because she's been around. If you know what I mean by I say that, she's been around, and she involved herself with one of my other friends, and it went south. She cheated on him multiple times, and it's just like, I didn't have a very good opinion of her, and I still don't. But Andrew really felt that that was what needed to happen. That having a child with her was what was needed. It was kind of weird hearing him explain that, because I never took him for a religious person, or maybe he at the time considered it fate. I don't really know. But he really impressed me, because his baby mama and her family are nutty, or became very nutty, because they were devout Christians that eventually turned to Mormonism. And I don't necessarily know how that works. So please forgive me if I don't elaborate on that further, because I really don't know how you go from being devout in one faith and then just on the flip of a coin are now of another faith. I really don't know how it works. But because of that change, and because of the fact that Andrew was not of the same mindset religious wise, he was painted as basically death incarnate. He was painted as the demon, as a quote unquote sinful serpent. That he was the epitome of evil, because he impregnated his baby mama. And that upset me. So that already gave that negative stigma of not only his baby mama adding to it, but the family as well, because she had kind of made it seem at the time, when, at least from what he explained to me, is that she was pretty much in agreement. Like, she wanted to have his child, and then kind of did like this complete 180 on him, and was like, no, you can't see her, you can't be a part of her life, you can't be her father, blah 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 blah. But I'll be damned, he fought, and he fought a really, really long fight. It was a really, really long fight. And it's crazy, because all of that, he fought for so long, for, his life to end like it did. The last time I saw him and I talked to him, he had asked me if it was all right if he could stay with me a couple nights. I told him, you know what, yeah, man, at the time my dad was gone, my parents were both gone away for the weekend. I said, there's nobody here other than me and my brother. You're more than welcome to come and stay. And that's when he told me that her family, her father being kind of the head of the household, the religious leader or whatever, he had finally come to terms with Andrew being the man to raise his daughter. And finally, after a very, very, very long fight, finally accepted him for who he was, and was willing to let there not be this quarrel, this quandary anymore. And it was very hard for him to take that because all he had known for these several years had been that they hated him, they didn't want him apart, they just wanted him, for whatever. And so he was really shook up about it, and just wanted just to kind of take some time away and just gather his thoughts. And I was happy to give him that reprieve. And this was back in October of last year. This was actually the last time I saw him, and it was, I think, that Sunday or Monday I took him home. And I do apologize if I get a little emotional because I when I think about this, it really does. It kind of sets in, you know. Before he got out of my car, as we pulled up to the front of his house, he just turned to me and said, "Thank you." And he said, "Thank you for giving me this time and, always being there when I really need you." Of course I told him, I said, of course, brother, you're like family to me. You're always welcome whenever I'm free. Like, I'm never going to just turn you away, because the times that we got to hang out were very far and few between. And, there was a lot of get-togethers that me and my friends were doing, like watching WWE pay-per-views and things like that. And, Sundays were the day that he spent with his daughter. And, I kind of told him, like, I completely understand that, like, I don't want to impose, but you're always welcome. And there were a couple times he did. He showed up just on the blue. Like, I didn't even know he was coming, and he just showed up. And, there was a lot of that, and I'm going to miss that. But that final moment, seeing him, and him just telling me thank you, and him just walking away, of course I told him, we need to do this more often. I miss it, because I did. I missed it a lot, And then he said, "Yeah, of course. We got to get back together, and we'll figure something out." And I never thought for a minute that was going to be the last time. I half expected him over the course of the next couple months in the pay-per-views, him to just show up, because that's how he was. He'd just show up when you never expected him to. So I found something out during his memorial service that I actually didn't know. Is that he had turned to faith, because he was in a very hard spot when his grandmother passed. And I wasn't aware of that. Like, during that entire memorial, when the man up there was talking about it, I wasn't aware of any of that. He never told me any of that. And it's kind of a weird thing, because I'm not religious anymore. I've turned away from religious beliefs. I don't hold them. I have morality, if that helps, but I don't hold faith anymore. Too many times I questioned it. But again, this video isn't about me, and if anybody ever wants to know more about that from my side, please feel free to ask me personally, like DM me. Don't ask me in the comments, because I don't want to make this big ass thread about it. But if you want to have like a personal conversation about that and want to know more about that, please by all means contact me, and I'll be more than happy to tell you. But I kind of felt it sort of weird to know that we had sort of kind of crossed like that. Like, he went one way, where he wasn't religious, and he came to religion. And then, I was religious when I first met him, and I kind of fell from religion. So it's almost like at one point our roads that we walked went the other ways. And so that was a lot of news to take in, especially of all moments. His memorial had a lot of people. Some people didn't show, which, I try not to get upset about things like that. I kind of chalked it up to it's on them. They're gonna have to deal with that and know that they didn't go to that, because memorials are not something that are redone. It's not something like a church service where it's like, oh, we'll come next Sunday. It's a one-time deal. It doesn't happen again. So there are going to be a lot of people who have to deal with that knowledge. I'm happy that I went. I'm happy that a couple of my friends went. Even Carlos, my buddy Carlos, and my friend Matt don't really know him. They didn't really know him all that much. They hung around him a couple times, but didn't really know him like me and like Adante knew him. So that was really nice of them to go. And afterwards, of course I hugged and I cried his mom, and I told her, if she needs me, that I'm here, and if the time comes that she does, I'll answer it. I owe her a lot. She tolerated a lot of the goofy shit that me and Andrew used to do, so she'll always have my thanks for that. And it's kind of the same thing, like, if his Andrew's daughter, for whatever reason, does want to know more about him, or wants to just know who his friends were, I'll be there for her. I don't expect it. Like, again, I have a very, very negative opinion of his baby mama. I don't have a negative opinion of his daughter. I met her once. Not when she was younger. She is 4 now, so I met her last year when she was 3. Very, very well behaved for a 3-year-old. Blew my mind and made me so proud to have witnessed that Andrew treated her right. That he really meant it when he said he wanted to be a father, and that just, it filled me with so much pride and joy. It's like just seeing my goofball of a best friend mature so much in such a short period. It really, really made me so proud of him. And that's why it really hurt to know that, he passed in the way that he did. And, he went through so much hell to be your father. And, he didn't really get to capitalize on that. So, excuse me, I have a cough. I really do apologize. I did a better take of this before, but I wanted to redo it for some reasons. But I'm not going to go into that because, again, this isn't what this video is about. But I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know, to let my audience know, to let future people who run by this channel know. It was really hard, those last couple weeks. It was very, very tough. Just amidst the chaos in my own personal life going on, just that on top of it it was a lot to deal with. But I had a lot of moral support. I had a lot of people telling me, if you need anything, just let me know. So I was looked out for, thankfully enough. After the memorial, I didn't mention this during that part, but after the memorial, me, Dante, my friends Matt and Carlos, we all went to one of Andrew's favorite places here in town. This buffet joint called China King. I remember having a lot of conversations there with Andrew. We went there a couple times, and we just had really, really in-depth conversations about, just things going on in his life. And, again, it's something I wish I could have made more of. Like, I wish that I could have made more memories with him. And it's going to be a big regret of mine. It's going to be something that's going to plague the back of my head for a really, really long time, that I didn't make more of an effort to really try to rekindle our friendship and try to maybe close that distance as much as I could. And I do blame myself for that. And I'm at least thankful for the time that I did get to spend with him and the memories that I do have of him, because he was a lot of the reason why I stayed in high school for as long as I did, because I wanted to give up so many times and just call it quits, because I was just under so much stress, and it was a really, really hard thing to deal with. And he was always there, you know even in times when we decided to skip school together. It's um, we did a lot of goofy stuff. But I think I'm done talking. I don't know how long this video is going to be, so I do apologize for the length. I really wanted to make this video and kind of cement something for the future to know, and have this record here, because I can't predict the future. I can't know if I'm going to be around the next 50 years or not. I can't predict if within these next couple of years I don't have some sort of accident that boggles my mind and gives me amnesia. I wanted to give you all something, and have something for myself and for those of the future to know. And again, I don't know how long YouTube is going to be around, so at least it'll be up while it's up. But I appreciate those who took the time to watch this video. I'm going to have a follow-up video shortly after this, talking about a couple things, so I hope you guys will all give that a listen when it's up. It'll be a lot shorter than this video, I know that. And I also want to bring up too, at the time of this recording, there has not been an arrest, as far as I know, of the person who committed the crime and took my buddy's life. The article that I had read when I had initially found out said that they knew who it was. I don't know what that means, but if there are any updates to that specifically, I will definitely let you all know. I'll make an update video, or I'll just update the description and have it in big bold letters, update, about it. So, yeah, I think that's going to be it. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and just this little tidbit into, my life, and just somebody who I called a brother. He will always be a brother to me. And I'm gonna miss him a lot. I'm gonna miss him just showing up out of random a lot. Those are some of the best moments when he showed up. It may have been a little off-putting, but he doesn't know how much I was smiling inside that he showed up. So yeah. I'll see you guys very soon. I hope to get back into the swing of things. There's been a lot going on. I had to figure this situation out. This is one of the reasons why this took so long, is getting the green screen back up. I still need to kind of mess around with it and get a proper light for this shit. But yeah, I'll see you guys very soon, and I hope you guys watch the update video, the video that will be following this one. It'll be a very, very small video, just talking about some stuff that I want to do to honor Andrew's memory. So, again, thank you if you watched to this point, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good day, everybody.